We need to talk about what's actually in your control when it comes to finding success on Upwork. Upwork is like any other platform. YouTube, Facebook, Google, all of these platforms have algorithms, and these algorithms have to choose between millions of pieces of content. In Upwork's case, it's 18 million freelancer profiles when deciding what content to show to whom and when. And when it comes to making that decision, there's a lot of luck involved. There's a lot of chance. Now, there's also strategy that when you implement the best strategies, you can increase your chances, sometimes significantly, in being chosen by the algorithm. But you can never guarantee it, and you can never control it completely. So in this video, we're going to discuss what can you do to increase your chances in finding success on Upwork and getting more interviews and getting more clients and getting your profile to actually show up, and what is not really in your control when it comes to that whole thing. So my success on Upwork started to surge in 2019, and it was a combination of strategy and luck. I was implementing new strategies with the niche that I was choosing, with how I was optimizing my profile, with the quality of my proposals, and that in combination with the algorithm randomly deciding to start promoting my profile more, I was able to catch on to a wave that led to client after client after client. And so when I think back on what contributed to that, it was a combination of both. The luck, the opportunity never would have done anything if I wasn't ready, if I didn't have the right profile, the right niche, the right expertise, the right portfolio, if I wasn't writing good proposals, if I didn't know how to get on a call with a client and close the deal. I needed to have those skills in place. I needed to have the strategy stuff in place so that I was ready. So when the opportunity and the luck showed up, it actually did something for me. So it's all about giving yourself a chance. If you don't implement the strategy side, then you have no chance. But you have to understand and have realistic expectations with what you can actually get from platforms like these. And so I'm going to go over some different things you can do to get around the randomness of the algorithm when it comes to finding clients, and what you can do to increase your chances in the algorithm choosing you. Because let's just go up here real quick, and I want to show you, okay, let's search for a video editor, all right? If a client's searching for a video editor on Upwork, here is what shows up. Okay, $9.99 per hour, video editor, Mohammed from Pakistan, is showing up number one. All right, let's go into his profile. And this is pretty typical with most freelance jobs. There will always be profiles on the first page that are not optimized very well. Now, this is not horrible. So there's some good optimization stuff being used. He has a niche that he's chosen: YouTube, TikTok, IG, video editing, also graphic designer. So he should be even more focused. I would never start a profile description with this, talking about you being a top-rated video editor. But overall, it's not the worst profile, but it's not the best. Yet his profile is ranking number one. Next one down the line, 40 an hour from India, 10 an hour from Pakistan, France, Bulgaria, United States, 75 an hour. I've scrolled through lots of freelancers' profiles, doing lots of different searches in different niches, and I will tell you, across the board, there are always profiles on the very first page that are not optimized great, or some of them don't have high job success scores, 94%, and 92%. So why is that? What is Upwork doing here if they're not just showing the best optimized profiles with the freelancers with the most experience and the best portfolios on page one? Then what aspect of your profile showing up is out of your control? Well, from what you can see here, Upwork is trying to create diversity. It's one of its top priorities. Most companies are trying to do that these days as a priority. And so as they focus on diversity, you're going to see a mixed bag of freelancers, regardless of how well their profile is optimized. Now, whether these freelancers they might be getting profile views and impressions because of Upwork promoting the profile, but are they getting clients? If they're getting clients and they're getting good reviews, then, well, at least they're performing. They're providing a high quality service, and that's good. So there is a certain level, a percentage of real estate when it comes to how the algorithm chooses profiles devoted to just plain diversity. Then there is a section of, there's a percentage, and it changes. So I can't just tell you the exact percentage. Sometimes it's half, sometimes it's, 60%. As I've done random searches, it tends to fluctuate. There's a percentage devoted to your profile checking all the right boxes of being optimized really well, SEO friendly, a really good optimized job title, a strong portfolio, a high job success score, and all of that. So if you are implementing best practices regarding optimizing your profile, you're giving yourself a chance to show up on the portion of the profiles here that are devoted to just performance and it being optimized really well. But you're still up there against other profiles that are literally just randomly thrown up there so that Upwork can have diversity of people across the world and also different skill levels and so forth. Now, if you're doing really bad, I will say this, that I've never seen a profile show up in the first few pages that it's like 50% job success score, really bad reviews across the board. Those profiles essentially get blacklisted from showing up at all, regardless of where they are in the world, so there is a minimum level of standard that the algorithm is checking before it jumps into diversity. But this just goes to show that when it comes worldwide, you're competing against quite a bit. And you can filter this down to US, and sometimes clients will do that, and they'll filter it to specific countries. So they'll kind of get around the diversity part of the algorithm. But what's important for you to understand is that there's a few things that I'm going to go over right now that will increase your chances in having a chance, in the algorithm being able to choose you. And if you don't do these things, then you're basically just eliminating all chances that you'll have success here. But it's also important that you understand that this is why it's very important that you diversify where you're getting clients from. This year, I have been able to change my ratio of how many clients are from Upwork versus outside of Upwork. I'm now at about 50-50, where about half my clients are outside of Upwork. The other half are on Upwork. It used to be 80 to 90% were on Upwork. And so I've been gradually working my way through my network and asking for referrals and getting referrals that led to more clients outside of Upwork. And I've experimented with things like Google Ads. I've spent some more time on LinkedIn. But the vast majority of my clients right now that I've gotten outside of Upwork has come from simple, just old-fashioned manual networking, reaching out to businesses, and getting referrals. So that's something that we can talk more about in another video. But I will say that because of the algorithm-based nature of platforms like Upwork, again, like I said, it's no different than YouTube, Facebook, social media, Google, all of it have these algorithms that have a great degree of chance attached to it. That's why you don't want to rely 100% on your freelance business, on your leads and clients coming from these platforms. You want to mix in other methods that get around algorithms entirely, and we're going to go over, what a couple of those are. So the first thing is to submit as many proposals as you can. The sheer quantity of how many proposals you submit will significantly increase your chances in being able to get jobs, because then the math starts to get on your side where, if you submit 1,000 proposals in a year, which comes out to about 3 per day, your chances in some of those proposals turning into clients are now a lot higher than if you only submit, 1 proposal a week. And so, going into my active proposals here, I have not submitted as many in April. It's like maybe, 8 or 9. Then I've responded to some invites. And I've also gotten less clients in April. But whenever I have submitted a couple proposals per day, I always end up with more clients in that month than when I don't, just by simply changing the quantity of proposals that I'm submitting. Okay, so that's just a basic math equation that's going to help get it on your favor. Now, I understand that it costs connects, and so You obviously have to have a budget there, but you submit as many as you possibly can afford to submit. But moving on to number 2 comes down to the quality of the proposals. You need to be writing good proposals that actually give you a chance in the client wanting to interview you and hire you. And that's why implementing best practices that we've talked about in other videos regarding writing proposals is really important. This tool right here, Pouncer AI, that I've talked about before, can help you write better proposals. And it has some really unique ways of using AI and scripts to speed up the process of proposals while still having them unique enough and detailed enough relating to each individual job. So you're not just copying and pasting the same template, but it has some good training. And there's also some course material in Pouncer AI if you join the community that can help give you additional training there as well. I've promoted this before. There's a link in the description below where you can get a discount code. I encourage you to check that out. Now, the next key is to make sure that your profile is optimized correctly and you're doing as good as you can there. So I have tons of videos on optimizing your profile. But again, it's important to understand that no matter how well optimized your profile is, there's still some luck and chance involved in the algorithm actually choosing you. So I've done stuff where I've changed my job title multiple times and all of a sudden it helped my profile rank higher, but then a few weeks later it's not ranking anymore. I've changed things in my about description and I noticed that it helped me get more profile views for a time, and then it wouldn't, and then it would, and it kept fluctuating. That's the randomness of the algorithm kicking in. But if I didn't optimize my profile well, then I'm not even giving myself a chance at all. And so you want to make sure you're checking the boxes and having a solid profile with a good title that you've researched, that you have a thorough description that's unique, you have a strong portfolio, and you've got, a video and everything, that you're checking all those boxes. The next tip is to reduce the competition, and this is done by doing research, job and freelancer research. You go in here, if you're a YouTube strategist, then you type in YouTube strategist and you see what other talent is showing up, and you get a sense for what they're using as their job titles, how they're writing their descriptions, and what you'll have to do with your profile and your positioning to stand out against the competition. But you have to do that competitive research. And then you can figure out how to reduce the competition by picking a specific niche that helps you stand out. But then you also have to research jobs related to what you're offering. So if it has to do with YouTube optimization, you start to see how many job opportunities are there related to what you do. And you have to negotiate the two, because there might be a job that there's tons of jobs available, but there's also way too many freelancers pursuing it. So as you do job search, you're looking for the opportunities of jobs that are posted often enough to where you will get regular enough work if you want this to be a full-time job. But there's less freelancers doing that, or at least picking a niche within that. For example, there's tons of freelancers that are video editors. There's a lot less freelancers that are video editing healthcare videos for hospitals. As you pick a specific niche of an industry you want to work for, or the types of businesses you want to do work for, you've now reduced the competition a ton for that specific niche. You may be reducing the job opportunities as well, but if there's enough of them, then that's where you find that opportunity. But it takes some extensive research. I've talked about this in other videos on how to do this research in full. So go ahead and check that out and ask me for it. I can put the link in the description as well. So reducing the competition, picking a niche, focusing in what you're doing, that's going to help the algorithm only have a lot less profiles to choose between for your specific niche. Then the next thing is just good old-fashioned manual outreach, where you're using things like LinkedIn to reach out to companies directly through email, through LinkedIn messaging, or companies local to where you live. And there's no algorithm at all getting in the way when you are just reaching out to companies directly. It's a longer sales process, but you don't have any algorithm getting in the way of what you're doing, and you have a lot more control over that whole process. The last thing is advertising. When you pay for advertising, you get around the organic algorithms entirely, and you're paying Google or Upwork or whatever platform you're using to push your content, your profile directly to certain people, but it can be costly and you might not have the money to be able to afford to do that. Now on Upwork, it's a little more vague when you're boosting your profile. I have mine off right now because I didn't want to keep spending connects on it. Upwork's still deciding who it boosts your profile to. You don't get to target specific businesses, or there's really no options there. Whereas on Google, you can set up a specific audiences that you're targeting. And that's why I want to keep looking more into that. Whereas on like Upwork, if you boost your proposal, that's a little more direct in the fact that you're boosting a proposal for a very specific job. So it's just being shown to that one client. I feel like that might, have more effectiveness, but at the same time, when there's only a few proposals, you don't need to waste the money boosting it. But advertising is one way to get around that. That's why businesses pay for advertising, because you have a little more control in that scenario. So overall, I don't mean to squash your hopes regarding finding success on Upwork and as a freelancer. I'm just trying to help you have the correct perspective regarding what are realistic expectations for using platforms like these, and just understanding that there is an algorithm that has a lot of chance attached to it, that no matter, even if you're doing all the best things, you might not be getting the results that somebody else got in only a few weeks because of that random chance aspect. But the more that you do, and the more that you do the right things and the longer that you do them for, you are increasing your chances significantly and eventually seeing the success that you're looking for. People only fail if they give up, ultimately. But this is why it comes back to, again, diversifying your income, not relying on platforms like Upwork entirely for your business clients, but that you're using other means of getting clients mixed into it so that you're not at the mercy of these algorithms, so that you feel like you have a little more control over what you're doing and the results that you're getting. So do not give up, keep going. And if you implement these things, you'll be able to, again, increase your chances, but you're still not in total control of the whole thing. Let me know what you think about this in the comments below, and I'll see you next time.